Right now, you are gradually losing ownership of the things you already paid for. A silent corporate matrix is converting your entire lifestyle into a permanent monthly tax. We are facing a severe economic paradox here. Tech monopolies and automotive giants, they're actively rewriting property laws. They're targeting your daily cash flow. The goal? To secure permanent revenue streams. This is a highly calculated move. Welcome to a new financial reality. Physical assets are losing their permanence, and you are funding the entire transition. Historically, buying a product meant it belonged to you. End of story. Today, that initial purchase is merely an entry fee. Corporations are completely re-engineering the definition of ownership. They're transforming finite transactions into infinite obligations. They're silently, but completely restructuring the global economy. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how they're doing it.
As we just established, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. It is the literal architecture of our modern economy. Corporations want your cash flow, and they want it forever. The ultimate goal is to move you away from being a consumer who acquires wealth and actual assets. They want you to be a user who merely rents access to society. Every single sector is quietly adopting this exact model. They are extracting marginal capital from your household ledger. It's a system designed from the ground up for permanent yield.
Act 1. The Loss Leader Pivot. Let's look at how they are re-engineering personal property.
Consider the architecture of a software-defined vehicle. It perfectly illustrates this shift. The car itself, it's merely a physical shell. It's designed to lock you into a digital ecosystem. Software now defines your entire driving experience. The hardware is just the vessel. With over-the-air updates controlling the machine, automakers have essentially become software vendors. You might hold the physical keys in your hand, but the manufacturer holds the digital master key. They can throttle your performance, they can restrict your battery range, they can even disable features entirely, all from a server hundreds of miles away. That physical object sitting right there in your driveway is no longer independent property. It is essentially a subservient node in a massive corporate network.
The contrast here is incredibly stark. Traditional ownership gave you absolute autonomy. You possess the asset completely, you could resell it freely on the open market. Digital licensing flips that dynamic on its head. Access becomes highly conditional. It is governed strictly by digital rights management. Under this new model, access is totally revocable. You own absolutely nothing. When you purchase a digital movie, a software suite, or an ebook, you aren't really buying it. You are merely buying a temporary, non-transferable license to view it. The corporation retains absolute authority. They can alter, censor, or completely delete that product from your device at any given moment, and they can do it without your consent.
$7,900. That is the Tesla paywall required to unlock full self-driving capabilities. Now, the hardware for this is already built right into your vehicle, but it is effectively held hostage. When software dictates physical access, you are forced to pay a steep ransom. A ransom for capabilities you already physically possess. This is the brilliant new margin expansion strategy for hardware giants. You, the consumer, absorb the manufacturing cost of the cameras and sensors. Then, the automaker charges you a premium to activate the very hardware you just financed. It is a highly aggressive tactic. They are literally double taxing you on a single physical product.
Act 2. The Rent-Seeking Empire. Here's how they are locking your capital into a billing grid.
The underlying architecture of this subscription economy relies on a very specific bait and switch. The front-stage value proposition promises absolute convenience, but the back-end revenue stream? That demands perpetual monthly payments. This convenience is just a carefully crafted illusion. It completely masks a ruthless extraction system, a system designed to slowly and permanently bleed your capital. Instead of building generational equity through asset accumulation, what happens? Consumers funnel their disposable income into voided recurring costs. Every single service you subscribe to is just another pipe draining your liquidity. This massive macroeconomic shift is transforming everyday citizens. You go from being owners of capital into permanent yielding assets for Wall Street portfolios.
These business models rely on proven behavioral economics to trap your capital. Platforms like Netflix exploit something called status quo bias. They know you are highly unlikely to cancel once subscribed, simply due to pure inertia. Spotify leverages extreme loss aversion. The fear of losing your curated digital library keeps you paying indefinitely, month after month. Meanwhile, mental accounting hides the true, cumulative cost of these microtransactions. $10 here, $15 there, they just don't trigger the same financial alarm as a massive upfront purchase. Corporations actively weaponize your own cognitive blind spots. This ensures their recurring revenue streams remain entirely uninterrupted.
And this relentless grid triggers a very modern crisis: subscription fatigue. Managing endless subscriptions creates a heavy cognitive burden. It's a severe financial drain. The initial illusion of choice very quickly becomes exhausting. You lose total financial control to an economy built entirely on access rather than equity. As you juggle software fees, media platforms, and now hardware subscriptions, financial tracking becomes nearly impossible. And listen, this exhaustion is not an accident. It is a core feature of the system. The more overwhelmed you are, the less likely you are to audit your spending. This ensures the silent extraction of your wealth continues completely unnoticed.
Act 3. The Legal Void. Welcome to permanent serfdom.
Legally speaking, consumers are being rapidly transformed into perpetual renters. End-user license agreements dictate absolutely everything. They intentionally obliterate secondary resale markets. You are stripped of offline access. You are unable to lend your property to a friend. You are expressly forbidden from reselling your assets. Ultimately, you are renting your own life. These binding agreements are designed to be impenetrable. They are buried in thousands of words of legalese that literally nobody actually reads. By clicking agree, you are systematically waiving your fundamental property rights. The first sale doctrine was a historic cornerstone of physical commerce. Today, it is completely nullified in the digital arena. The secondary market is deliberately and permanently destroyed.
Look at how Google Stadia brutally demonstrated this digital fragility. You purchased the digital service, but when corporate servers shut down, it resulted in the complete erasure of consumer access. Assets vanished into thin air, licenses were instantly revoked. It is the ultimate proof that in a digital ecosystem, your access is entirely conditional. Users had invested hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars into digital games they genuinely thought they owned. But without a physical disk or a decentralized file, their entire library evaporated overnight. When the hosting corporation pivots its business model, you, the consumer, are left holding nothing but a deactivated account.
The legal reality here is incredibly bleak. Transferability has hit absolute zero. Providers can terminate your access at will. Furthermore, the Internet of Things binds your devices so tightly that if a company pivots, your expensive smart hardware becomes utterly useless. Despite some pushback from EU directives, consumers are actively trading their fundamental autonomy for mere access. We are seeing perfectly functioning appliances, electronics, and vehicles permanently bricked. Why? Simply because the parent company decided to turn off the support servers. Meanwhile, the data harvesting continues endlessly. It feeds the exact algorithms designed to sell you back your own lifestyle on a permanent monthly lease.
So think about a fully tokenized financial system. If you lease every single experience and own absolutely zero physical assets, do you have any real autonomy left? Just let that sink in for a moment. When every tool, every vehicle, and every piece of media requires an active subscription just to function, you are completely tethered to corporate permission. Your ability to exist independently from the billing grid simply vanishes. Your life literally becomes an operational expense for global conglomerates. The structural shift is nearly complete. The death of ownership, it is already here.